Hi guys.
Hey guys.
Today we wanted to talk about having a long distance relationship with somebody and kind of the difficulties and the good things that come out of it. But more specifically, having a long distance relationship with someone from a different country. She's from Brazil. I'm from the United States. We met in the United States. We have another video that talks about that. But we met for 3 days, and then she went back to Brazil. And we were kind of just friends for a little bit. And then, maybe after we met,
About 5 months after, we decided to have a long distance relationship. About 6 months, to be honest.
yeah, about 6 months after a long distance relationship. And that was just basically virtual. We were whatever, web camera or video camera, text messages, calling each other.
A lot of WhatsApping.
WhatsApp, yeah. And it's really tough being away from someone that you fall in love with. It's tough, obviously, not having them next to you. There's some insecurity that goes into it with not knowing what they're doing, you know, stuff like that. It's tough, but there's also good things about it, building that relationship, kind of like a friendship, getting to know somebody, their personality, and stuff like that before you actually get into a romantic relationship. So there's good that comes out of it. But all in all, you just have to be creative and respectful to each other and just loving. Um, like they say, some people are in a relationship where they're together every day, but they feel very distant from each other. That happens a lot in relationships nowadays. But for us, it was the opposite. It was being far away from each other, but emotionally and mentally, we were kind of getting closer together.
Yeah.
So we basically had a long distance relationship for a little less than a year and a half.
Before we got married?
Before we got married. We only knew each other in person.
We met in person for a little less than 3 months.
Before we got married.
Before we got married.
So we were actually together for 3 months.
That's
our lizards eating. So we didn't really know each other in person too long before we got married, which now to us it seems kind of insane. But back then it didn't really. It just felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
This was a very mutual thing. We talked about it over and over before we started dating online. We've talked about it. It's something that we wanted to do, but it's just a lot of people.
Never done before. I'm sorry.
And a lot of people don't really get advice from people that you really want to hear because no one really goes through this. I asked for so much advice from all my friends and I appreciate all the advice that they gave me, but nothing was ever really. There weren't too many people telling me, "Oh yeah, this is a good idea," or "I think you should follow your heart," or whatever you're doing.
Opposite.
It was the opposite. A lot of people were just like, "Oh, is she trying to use you?" or there has to be some secondary reason why she's doing this. They didn't know her very well, so even family members were saying these things. But I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But once my family members or my friends met her, then they started warming up to the idea of us being together, and they believed me when I said that we were actually in love. A lot of people don't think that you can fall in love the way we did.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. It's kind of a different approach to finding someone that you love.
Yeah, and everybody says that we're crazy for going through that, even though we barely know each other. Knowing somebody through, virtual, it's different than actual living with this person or dating this person in person.
Mm-hmm.
But we tried in keeping us as if we were together for many times. So we would cook together, we would go to the movies and watch the same movie at the same time together, and then afterwards talk about this movie. So we were always trying to kind of make it feel like we were in the same room all the time. And it's crazy because when we started dating, when we decided to have this long distance relationship, we had never kissed. We have touched like this, but never kissed. So we were dating for about 5 or 6 months like that without knowing anything but the fact that we liked each other's company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, I guess, the first step. That's all it took. We enjoy spending time with each other. And like she said, it's just about getting creative. When you're in a long distance relationship, whether it's different country or not, you have to get real creative in order to make it feel like you guys have a genuine relationship, just like everyone else. Like she said, we would do cooking challenges. We watch a lot of cooking shows and stuff, and we like to cook. So we did fun challenges like picking a recipe or something and having to both of us go to the market at the same time,
Yeah.
like as quick as kind of quick, or like we go to the market and be on the phone together telling each other what we're gonna buy basically. Then we would go home, FaceTime while we're cooking. It makes it seem like you're doing it together.
Yeah, we ended up even creating an Instagram together, so we would post the things that we do together just to make ourselves closer.
Yeah.
And it's fun also, since we're different cultures, it would be like, okay, I want you to make garlic bread and I'll make garlic bread. And we wouldn't share the recipe, just be like, okay, you do it the way you guys do it there and I'll do it the way I do it here. And it's always something different. Everywhere you go, say for example the pizza here, it's one thing, and the pizza in Brazil, it's another thing.
Yeah, two completely different I guess recipes or whatever, but
yeah, like hot dog even. We ended up not doing hot dog, we should have, but now we can do it here, and show it to each other. The differences that and the differences kind of brings us together when it comes to that. We're showing each other's cultures.
Yeah. And so it's like, don't be afraid to have kind of a different way of looking at things with your partner in a long distance relationship. That's kind of the fun about being in a relationship or a long distance relationship, is you guys are two different people. You got to realize that you're two different people. And that's what makes it fun. You do things like this and you guys have two completely different recipes that you made, and it's like, oh my God, and then it's just, that's fun. Or going to the movies together and then talking about it afterwards. It makes a relationship more interesting just in general if you have two different views of things, but even more so if you were in a long distance relationship, because then you guys have things to, I don't want to say argue about, because it's not good to argue, but to debate or to converse. You guys need to be talking and communicating a little bit more than someone who's in a regular relationship. You need to bring yourselves closer together emotionally. Ask a lot of questions about them, get to know them a lot more, before you guys actually see each other. Because when you do see each other, it just makes your bond, a lot stronger.
Yeah. And also, I guess, being able to, how can I say this? Help. Even though you don't know what the other person's doing, or because of the time change, it's always like there's a time of the day that you guys don't know what they're doing because they're at work or whatever, or sleeping and I'm sleeping or doing whatever else. And at the same time, it kind of, to me and to him at least, it made us not only stronger in our relationship but ourselves. Because when you have a relationship that's not a long distance relationship, and you see this person every day, you go out with this person every day, you're 100% contact with the person all the time. It ends up being, sometimes you don't know if you actually like the person or if you're just used to the person. And in a long distance relationship, you know that you're alone but with somebody. And being alone, you know how to love yourself better. Sometimes you just get attached to somebody without knowing that's true love, but you're there because it's good or it's fun. And that's what we've been through in our other relationships. We didn't know. It gets to a point where, why am I here? What am I doing here? And with a long distance relationship, you kind of know why, because you put yourself in there with a clear mind in the first place.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, also, you kind of are forced to trust if you're not a very trusting person.
Yeah.
You're thrown in this relationship where you literally, they could be texting you from anywhere. You know, they might tell you that they're at their house or something, but in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, maybe they're just tricking me, or
But then, yeah, but then what happened to me, what would make me feel better is that I would ask my friends, like, I'm freaking out because he hasn't been picking up his phone. And they would say, Fran, he's doing like literally everything to be with you and from another country. So why would you fool somebody, you know, from another country? You know, why would you put yourself in that situation? So I think that that helped me a lot. You know, he was going through the whole process to be with me, and when I was insecure, that what would help me out was the fact that why would he go through all of that? Why would he go through his own family saying stuff to him, his own friends saying stuff to him? Why would he do that to, to be mean or be a bad person? So that's what calmed me down a lot. I don't know about you.
yeah,
I was always at home pretty much.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's like we said, there's a lot that goes into it. We're gonna talk about it in future videos and things like
Yeah.
that. Long distance relationships it's tricky. You know, you have to trust the person. And even sometimes if you get very insecure or you don't trust them, you know, talk to them. There has to be a certain way, a respectable way you can talk to the person and tell them how you're feeling. You always need to be telling the person how you're feeling. Because that's, like we said, is what drives you closer together. And we always believe that you have to be friends first before you get into a relationship with someone.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it helps a lot to communicate. Communication is one of the biggest things
Yeah.
that I'm not the greatest at communicating, but you know, we try every day, and having the long distance relationship kind of helped us in that way.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people ask me, like, how do you do it? Or, many people come to me and say, I don't think I would ever be able to have a long distance
Yeah.
relationship. And that's something that I always told myself. Like, I'm a person that cannot be, I didn't like being alone. And I always thought by myself, I always thought that I would have never been able to get be in a long distance relationship. And with him, it was the easiest relationship I've been in. He's easy to deal with, and even though the communication sometimes it's not the best, at least we try as hard as we can to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And when people came to me and asked, like, how do you do this? And I always say, if I've always felt like he was the right person for me. I do not know why, but from the moment we met, it's something that was in my heart. Like, this is it. It's him. And I believe that, if you feel with yourself, inside yourself, go meditate or something, and think yourself, if that's the person that it's the person for you, you go for it. You do whatever it takes, to salvage the relationship it's falling, or to fix it, or whatever. And you go through a long distance relationship if you know that's the right person. If it's somebody that you're like, oh, but I'm not sure if that's this and that's that, and if it's something that you're not completely sure about, it's not something that's going to be easy to, it's not something that's going to be easy for you to be in a long distance relationship if you don't have completely percent certainty that that's the person for you. If it is the right person for you, you'll know, and that's going to go smooth because of that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
So we kind of just did like a quick video about long distance relationships, but I mean, I guess it wasn't quick. It's like 15 minutes, but we can talk about it more if you guys wanted. If anyone needs us to kind of, or just if you want us to talk about long distance relationships anymore, let us know. We can make another video that kind of delves deeper into that. Our next video we wanted to talk about in the future, we have a lot more videos we want to talk about, but the next one is basically how the first year of our marriage has been. We've been married now for a little bit over 9 months.
Almost 10.
Like I said, We knew each other for what would we say, 3 months in person before?
Yeah, we were together in person for 3 months almost, but we knew each other for over 2 years.
Yeah.
About
So
2 years.
right. So the next video is going to be about how our first year of marriage is going. You know, she's gone through a lot of changes. She moved from a different country. She's trying to get used to the culture here, and there's a lot of things, a lot of things to talk about. So thank you very much, and we appreciate you listening. Hopefully, some of this helped you or informed you.